and today's topic is humor on the spiritual path. And I'll start off with what has happened today. Um, when the satsang started, 2 minutes before it, there were three of us, she, him, and me. And then Kailash ji came and he said, "Good morning," because everything was empty. And I was to order prasad. So I said, three people. And then I ordered, thinking that 2, 3 more might come. And then I opened my eyes in meditation. I saw it has never been so full. So I realized that Master is laughing. Keep on planning. And then I said, okay, it's up to him. It's your satsang. It's your center. Whatever will happen for the best. And you would realize, a lot of us, including me, when I came onto the path, I associated the spiritual path with seriousness. Because you see a person's posture, he's meditating, there is no expression on that person's face. And if you see Master or Sri Yukteswar ji's picture, or you see Babaji's picture, Lahiri Masha ji's picture, there is no smile at all when they are in Samadhi. And then one thinks, it must be a very serious path. There must be no place for, humor, laughing and all. And then, as you go on the path, you start coming across videos and audios of the gurus on our line, And then when you hear Master laugh, when you hear Swami Kriyananda laugh, there's something awakens in you. And then you realize that this laugh is not the laugh that you have been hearing in the parties, in social gatherings, where the laughter is about trying to laugh louder than the next person and drown out and, in fact, fool ourselves into thinking that I am happy. And then one starts thinking, what is the link? How come one side I am seeing people are very serious, and then I listen to these great masters and hear stories, what they have done in their lives. Then you say, then what is the link? How does one go into it? And then comes the answer if you listen to the story of one Mr. Bob Raymer. He was a master's disciple in the US, and he was a very well-to-do businessman. In fact, in late 1920s, he had a private jet at that time. So he was a very well-to-do businessman. He read not autobiography, he heard about Master somewhere, attended one of his lectures, and he thought that I have to go. And he, in fact, if you listen, there is a video of his talking about this. He can't even pronounce Kriya Yoga. He is saying Kraya Yoga. And so he says that he fixed up an appointment with Mount Washington and flew in his private jet, landed there, and was given a private appointment with Yogananda ji. So he went up, and now he was tensed that I'm going to meet. He didn't even understand what a guru is, but he knew this person is important. And will he accept me? I have been doing this in my life, I have been doing that in my life. And he was very tense. So he goes there. First he goes and waits in the room where he was supposed to meet Master, and Master doesn't come there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And he starts thinking, he's already rejected me. He doesn't want me. I am not good enough for this path. But then Master comes in. And this person, like most of us, is wanting to talk serious stuff. What is Samadhi? What will happen? And all this. And Master is talking, no, you leave that. And what do you think? How my house is? How my room is? Oh, yeah, it must be okay. Then he says, okay, have you had something to eat? No. Okay, wait. So he picks up baklavas, those mithai kind of things. And Bob Raymer is sitting in front of him and he says, okay, have this. He says, no, I will feed you. The master is picking up and putting it in his mouth. And he's not understanding what is happening. But he says, okay, he's a great man. I have got to listen to him. And this happens for 4-5 minutes. He tries to go on to a topic and he's turning it to a frivolous thing. Then he says, he shows the picture of his younger brother, Vishnu Ghosh, who was a bodybuilder. And he says, this is my younger brother. Don't you think he looks like Clark Gable, who was a famous hero of Hollywood, sorry. And then he starts thinking what is happening. He starts laughing. There's no resemblance, no chance of a resemblance of a Bengali with a movie star. And the moment he laughs, Yogananda ji says, okay, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, you will have your Kriya. No level 1, 2, 3, 4. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Next day, 10 o'clock, Bob Raymer comes and he is initiated into Kriya Yoga. And he says that, maybe I'll share it in the group also, this interview of his. And he goes back to his hotel room, where he's learnt the Kriya, and he says, I start looking for which is east direction. And he faces east, puts his mat and starts meditating. And then when he's meditating, first Kriya breath he takes, he finds a huge spurt of energy that comes up his spine. And he's rotating like this in ecstasy. He falls down from his bed. And such ecstasy is going up his spine that there are tears coming, he's laughing, he cannot understand what is happening to him, and then he understands what God's love, what God's bliss, and what God's humor is all about. And then one hears this story, one thinks, why did Master not let him talk about the serious topics and just was trying to get him to lighten up, to lighten up, to lighten up? And if you analyze, you will understand that it is only when you are relaxed that you are receptive. If you are too serious, too stoic, you will not be able to receive the blessing which is coming from you, from Guru and God. And that is exactly what all across it happens. There have been many instances in the life of these great masters. Swami Kriyananda had so many surgeries that you can't even begin to imagine. And what would happen to a person? First time his hip surgery happened, he went into the procedure, came out rehabilitated and started functioning. After a few months down the line, the other hip was ready for the surgery. So he went in for the second surgery. Again the same process, came out, recovered for 5 months, touring around. Suddenly it was found that the first hip surgery had gone wrong. So he needed to go again for the hip surgery. So when he was admitted, the near disciples were there and the discussion was this, oh my God, what suffering and what is happening? First you had one surgery, then another hip surgery, and now you're having back onto this thing. We really feel sorry for you. What do you say? He says, I have to say only one thing. Hip, hip, hooray. And that was his reply. Can you imagine what is happening? He had learnt the art of dissociating with the body. And this is where the whole path is all about. We do not have to be so stoic, so strict. You must understand what these great masters were trying to teach. They were trying to teach us that in humor, be humorous on yourself, not on others. Or if the situation is funny, yes, you must laugh. Because only when you start laughing at yourselves, your own mistakes, You do not take your own mistakes so seriously. God is not at all bothered about your mistakes. According to Yogananda ji, the dialogue was, God doesn't mind your mistakes. God minds your indifference. That you're not bothered. And this is where the answer is. Why humor was brought in, why all these great saints emphasized on this lightness is to increase our receptivity. Because when we are without any tension, our heart is open to receive. And if we are pining for it, no, come to me, come to me, come to me, it won't happen. Why? We are ourselves blocking it out. Again, in Master's life in Mount Washington, this was towards the end of his I would say about 1948 or so. He had went into a very deep state of meditation, and he actually went into a samadhi for almost 7 days. And during this stage, the later phase of it, without calling to any of his disciples, he did not call them to his room. They got intuitively an answer that we need to go to his room, and they one by one reached there, and they found him in that state, and he in that state was able to converse with Divine Mother, and he started saying what Divine Mother wanted to say to each one of them. But after half an hour or 1 hour of this conversation, because he was speaking on behalf of Divine Mother and also on his own voice, and they could understand what is happening. All their questions were being answered through Master. And then suddenly Master said, Divine Mother, don't go away, don't go away. And she said, but I cannot stay in the ether of the restlessness of the people here. What did she mean by that? And they were not normal people. They were very advanced disciples of Master. It is the restlessness, the wanting. I want this, I let this, give me samadhi, give me that, make this good in my life, make it bad in that person's life. That is driving him away. The only way to receive the grace of God is in complete surrender, in accepting what is. And you will realize your Guru will teach you again and again, again and again. In life, you would have been in situations where things have become very serious, and suddenly someone jokes or some passes some remarks and the whole atmosphere becomes light. Why do you think it happens? I am reminded when I was in NDA, there were two guys. One was Fernandez and the other guy was a Jat Dahiya, who was a boxer and a wrestler. And this guy, Fernandez, said something to him, and he was no comparison in physical strength to Mr. Dahiya. But he said something, and then Dahiya started running after him, so Fernandez is running ahead. Now, there are floors in the buildings of NDA. There is ground floor, first floor, and second floor. So they ran first floor in the flank, then to the second floor, and Dahiya was about to catch him when he reached the end, and there was just one big window. So Mr. Fernandez ji climbed onto the window and said, मैं jump कर दूंगा, तू अगर पास आया तो. So now this guy was caught कि पता नहीं what he'll do, but he said he's bluffing. So Dahiya went to him and this guy jumped. And I was seeing from there the expression of Dahiya, he was गया, and I am going to get withdrawn, relegated कि मेरे कारण this. So he walked over and looked down. So there was a bush जिसके ऊपर Fernandez was lying like that. And he said, Fernandez, you are okay? So he was looking from down there. He said, will you hit me? He said, no. I thought, then I am okay. And the whole situation changed. And that crazy guy is a brigadier now, and he's got a gallantry award also. Maybe that's why he had the guts to jump. But what I'm saying, the whole atmosphere changed. How did it change? Because the mood was changed, the energy was changed. The laughter, the merriment is an energy of the higher chakras. Anger, anxiety, sadness, depression are the lower chakras. And when you learn how to surrender, everything starts falling into place. Master keeps on teaching us. With me, what used to happen, I am taking online classes also uh, for the online community, and some home study stuff at times I have to do. And what happens is, initially I was being from the forces, I was meticulous that at a particular time I should be there and everything. So inevitably what used to happen, I used to switch on my computer, put it on, and before the time of the class used to come, the update used to start happening on the computer. It is hanging, and I am, oh man, what will happen? They'll think I am a late comer and whatever. And inevitably, 30 seconds or 20 seconds before the class to start, it used to. Then initially one little, second time, third time, I thought my computer is old. I bought a new computer, installed everything, same thing again. Till the time I realized, okay, master, I know what you're doing. It's your class, it's everything, let it be. And then that problem has gone away. It so much so that I started realizing that the moment you surrender, everything starts falling into place. We had this spiritual renewal week now in Puri just recently in October. And what happened is that I was to have a camp of mine, and from which I could not be missing, and it was scheduled in those dates. So I did not apply and I could not go, but I wanted to go. But I did not get into that state of that I have to go, master, do something. I said, okay, if you feel that I need to attend, so be it. And I meditated and did whatever I was supposed to do. Exactly a week or so, 10 days before, a message comes, the camp is postponed. The first thing I do is call up Prem Das ji, who was looking after the accommodation, and he said, the hotel is booked. There are so many people coming, but there is one rest house which is 600 meters away from this place. I said, oh, I'm coming. I went there and it was a beautiful experience. But I did not start doing, okay, I have to go or I don't have to go, this will happen. And I'm talking of some of us are going to Babaji cave. They would have seen me in that group, and I left the group because my daughter's exams were there. And this was Babaji cave is from 20th to 23rd of this month. And I said, okay, master, if you want me to go, it will happen, otherwise no, because my daughter's exams always were starting in last week of November, and her practical date came earlier. So I said, no chance that it's going to be. So I cancelled out. Day before yesterday, the date sheet comes out. Her exam is starting on 5th of December. First thing I call up Bharatji, is there a place? He says, no, there is no, but someone has dropped out. And I'm now going. So what I'm trying to say is not that the moment you surrender, you don't want this also, and you don't want that also. And she said, okay. If this is good for my spiritual progression, it will happen. If it is not supposed to happen, it will not happen. The moment you start living your life like this, everything starts falling into place. But the humor that is there on the spiritual path is different. When it happens with masters, it is different. Towards the end, I mean, this is just about a year or two before Master left his body, he was on a tour, and Dr. and Mrs. Lewis, who was one of his first disciples actually, Dr. Lewis, were also traveling along with him, and it had become very hectic, and they had a social gathering. They first had a public address by Master, then followed by a dinner when the close disciples took them to a Chinese restaurant, and from there they came to the hotel room late, and then early next morning they had to again go to another place. And Dr. and Mrs. Lewis were tired. They just wanted to sleep. Master said first thing to them, their rooms were next to each other. He said, keep the door open. I don't know what is he going to do, but they opened. They lied down and were about to drift off to sleep. They heard a sound coming from Master's room saying, Ho gum. What language is this, Ho gum? And Mrs. Lewis knew him. So she said, I will not be disturbed. I am going to go to sleep. After a few minutes it come, super ho gum. I mean, super ho gum ho. And then they realized it was the name of one of the Chinese dishes that was served to them, and he was repeating it like a child. Until the time both of them started laughing and they said, oh, he can't sleep, let's go to his room. And then he sat with them and he spoke throughout the night. And in the morning he said, I didn't want you to be awake because I wanted to talk to you. I am not going to be in this body for long. Whatever time you can spend in satsang with this body will help you. That is the love of our great masters. But they were getting it through to us through lightness. Repeatedly, Master did these things. Swami Kriyananda was with Master in that desert retreat, and the monks were told to dig an swimming pool, make a swimming pool in the desert. And actually that swimming pool was never used after it was made. But the aim of doing that of Master was to get the monks to the desert retreat, because Master towards the end of his life was writing all these books. And he was totally focused on that. He used to come and take a break and used to talk to Swami Kriyananda, Brother Nanmoy, Dhiranandaji, not Dhiranandaji, sorry, and these people. And his aim was to spend time with them. So one of these days, Swamiji says that they were digging that place and there were mounds of sand around. So Master came out and it was almost lunchtime. He says, these mounds are not looking good. So why don't you take that fatta is there, no? That 2x4 they call it, and pull it from one side so that the sand can be evened out. It was very hard work. They said, okay, Master is saying to one. They started doing. The moment they completed one, they were tired and he said, okay, now Master will, so let's go for lunch. He says, no, I think so the other one is also needs to be done, evened out. Okay, second, third, fourth. And they were thinking what is happening, till the time Swami Kriyananda realized what was happening. And he started laughing. And then Master said, now come for lunch. Remember in life, whatever you want to avoid, you don't want it to happen. If you do not surrender to it and let it, accept it as Divine Mother's play, it will continue troubling you. And it will trouble you even more. When you accept that it is coming from your Guru, from Divine Mother, it will become a beautiful play. And you will realize what is happening to you. And Master has such an impish sense of humor. Last time when I went to Babaji cave, I, like a typical lazy person, all of our suitcases have a lock, that numerical lock. So I, like a foolish person, had put the lock as 000 only, and I used to just shift it so that people think that it is locked. So I had kept it that way in my room, and it had been 000 from the beginning. And first day we went, the second day there was a trek, not to the Babaji cave, but a local trek, and we came back from one place and it was just about time I had to basically change my shoes. I started opening that, I put the lock to 000, it's not opening. What is this? And there outside Keshavaji is waiting for me because he had a specific task for me. I had to go and ahead of people and put some posters on the trek. And I said, what is happening? And I'm a little panicking, ke, oh, he's waiting and what am I doing? Then there was a photo of Master, which I used to in my altar, I carry that. I looked towards him and I said, I know you are doing something. And I did it to 001, it opened. I do not know how it has become 001, but you realize what our Guru does is he's ironing out the kinks in your spine. And if you take it as why it is happening to me, you will keep on suffering. Till the time you say it, okay, Guru, what are you trying to teach me? And you accept it as the divine play. And when you start accepting things as a divine play, life becomes beautiful. Then you never ask this question, why me? But you ask this question, okay, what are you trying to teach me? And then and only then you open your heart to learn. And then everything will start falling into place, and you too will laugh like these great saints. Their laugh used to come from, if you hear Swami Kriyananda laugh, I'm not talking of us also. If you listen to one of his interviews, it's quite at a later stage in his life, and the lady who's taking his interview is a journalist, proper journalist. And Master started laughing. Master, I'm saying Swami Kriyananda started laughing, and she couldn't resist. You see that video, and you realize that laughter is not coming from here, it is coming from the heart, because it is expanding. We too will learn to laugh like that. In the last, I will end by saying that about this face of these great masters, you must realize eventually, even to smile requires energy. I don't know whether she's a doctor, she'll be able to tell. And it actually requires a lot of energy to smile. And what these great saints are doing, they are in bliss of God. That bliss of God has got nothing to do with your facial expression. They are so intensely happy and in bliss and ecstasy inside, but it is not an external thing. So don't think that they are very serious. They have gone into a different world and they are laughing with Divine Mother and Heavenly Father.